Brandon, how often do you lose money on a car? 1 in 300?
I wish it was 1 in 300. We lose money right now. I would say one out of every probably 15 cars.
Right at it.
Yep, right around there. So it used to be that we were running at when it was just me buying cars and no one else was buying cars. I was running between like a 3 and 4% loss rate. But here's the thing. Since I've stopped buying cars, the market's gone crazy. We've had to take more gambles on cars. So it has nothing to do with Alex buying cars. I promise you. Alex buys cars better than I did, ever will. And it's not on him. It's about the market. I used to be able to go to auction, and there were like 20, 30 cars on my list that I would have to look at, and I would only put cars on my list that I couldn't find anything wrong with them. And now we're lucky to have 10 or 15 cars on our buyer list, and half of them are going to be okay. Well, this one's got an O2 sensor. This one's got some. There's going to be something wrong with some kind of gamble, and we don't have the luxury anymore of being able to go and pick out and be so picky on these cars. We've had to loosen what cars we've actually bought over the last 3-4 years, and it's made it very difficult for us to keep a 5% loss rate. And that's something that's probably never going to come back, just because the quality. I mean, think about people who have quality cars. They're not trading them in. They're just like, I was talking earlier about, if you have a good car that's running, even if it's a cheap car, keep it, because it costs so much more to actually replace a vehicle right now that a lot of people are just opting out. And what I say a lot is that, okay, people are only trading in cars because in most cases they have to, and not because they want to. Back before all this craziness happened, people would trade in cars every 3 years, every 3 to 7 years, and they would upgrade. People aren't really upgrading right now. So what we have is a lot of this junk that's coming to auction through trade-ins, where you have bad motors, you have bad transmissions, and in some cases, some makes, some models, they're not going to throw specific problem codes even if they have a bad transmission. So we've dealt with a lot of like transmission replacements, way more than we ever have before, because we just end up buying them every once in a while because we're not as picky as what we used to be. And in those cases, we're going to lose money if we slip up and buy a bad transmission, buy a bad motor. And it's just a fact of the market. And we lose money on way more cars than I would like for it to be. But this is not something that has anything to do with even, I think, what we're buying or how we're buying it, how we're checking them out. It's just an element of the market and how the quality of cars has gone down so much just in the last 5 years. And it makes my job a lot harder. It makes Alex's job a lot harder. And I miss having all these cars sitting out there. And the other thing is too, is we're paying so much more for the cars that we have less room for error. So it used to be that when I have these 10, these 20 cars on my list, when I go to auction, there would be 3 other guys standing right beside me. We're all buddies, and we all buy the same stuff. And we'd have one car rolling in there, the Ford Taurus that everybody knew that I loved, a 2002 with 150,000 miles. And I look at all the other guys and be like, yo, the Taurus, y'all get if I get it? And we could talk like that to each other, and they wouldn't bid on it, and I would end up getting it for $500 or $600. And that just doesn't happen anymore, because we all have to fight over these same 10 cars now. There's not 30 cars that the same 3 guys want. There's now 10 cars that the same 6 guys want. And it ends up being that we can't just have that dialogue with each other anymore. So that car that I was getting for $600 then, now it's a dogfight, and we run it up to $1,800, and then you can see that the margin for error shrinks so much when I have to pay that much more for a car, because at the end of the day, that 2002 Ford Taurus that it's got 150,000 miles, I'm having to pay $1,800 for it, is only worth $3,000. And back then, when I was paying $600 for it, we could sell it for $2,500. So that gives me a lot of leeway to be able to fix a lot of stuff and still make money. But right now, I mean, if we have to do anything to the car, then we're cutting it really, really thin on actually making money on it. And then just add into the difficulty of getting parts and paying for parts. Labor's going up. If we have to get another mechanic, if somebody that's got a shop or a lift, because we don't have a lift in our shop, to be able to pay them to do a job, everything costs more, and that makes it more difficult to make money and makes it a lot easier for us to have more losses than what we have experienced in the past.
How many of those classic 5th generation 2002 to 2006 Toyota Camrys do you have on the lot for sale? At the moment, I don't think.
At the moment, I don't think we have any right now. I will say that, I mean, that's the best car you can buy. 2002, 2006, 4-cylinder Camrys. And the thing about it is when we see them, it's almost where it doesn't matter what the mileage is. And the mileage that we'll typically buy in those ranges is 150,000 up to even 240,000. And I'm not scared of them at all. Now, obviously, if the mileage is over $200,000, they're going to be a lot cheaper, but we don't keep them. So, but anytime we see them, we buy them, and they don't last more than about 2 weeks, typically. Now, we will have the 6 cylinders every once in a while. I think they're good cars too. Camry, if it's a Toyota, if it's a Camry, it's a good car. But the 4 cylinders, what I see time and time again at these dealer auctions, I go and we see thousands of cars a week. And one car that you can absolutely see that regularly has 300, 350, 400,000 miles pop up at these auctions is that Camry. Now, we'll see some Honda Accords, we'll see Civics, we'll see Toyota Corollas, Toyota 4Runners. They'll run forever too. But it's very interesting, the types of cars that you see over and over and over again at these auctions that have 300, that have 400,000 miles on them, still cranking up, still driving through the lane, and they seem fine. But you're not seeing that with. I mean, I love a Ford Taurus. That's one of my favorite cars. I built my business on the back of cheap Ford Taurus. But you're just not going to see a 2006 Ford Taurus with 350,000 miles over and over and over again at auction. They didn't survive. A lot of your American made product, like I don't even know. I would say probably some of your GMC, some of your Chevy trucks we can see with that many miles. And it's pretty common to see that. But other than that, if you're looking at any kind of American made product, like you're not going to see anywhere close to the consistency that you'll see with a Honda or Toyota that have that many miles on them. Another one that's probably surprising to a lot of people is I can't remember the year. I think it's a 2001 to 2006 Nissan Altima 4-cylinder. This was before they put the CVT transmissions in them. And this is definitely not the 6-cylinder. The 6 cylinders were absolute garbage. They put obviously different motors, 6-cylinder motor, but the motors were terrible. They would have head gasket problems all the time. And the transmissions were terrible. They were not the same transmissions they put in the 4-cylinder. But the 4-cylinder Altimas, they actually we still see them that have 300,000 miles that are at the auction. They were actually really good cars. And I'm sure a lot of you think that's, and the Sentras, the little 4-cylinder Sentras were really good too. And I know that's got to be surprising for you to hear me say that any Nissan product was actually good, but those Altimas were fantastic. We bought a ton of those. We're starting to see less and less of them now because obviously it was the last year they made that before they switched over to the CVT transmission was 2006. So now those cars are 20 years old. Even when you're seeing these Toyotas and these Hondas that have a lot of miles, even with them being 20 years old, you're starting to see less and less of them just because as the age goes on, especially if they go anywhere that has any kind of rust. We're in a unique position where we are to see cars like that all the time because we don't have rust here. So if there's a car that's been kept in North Carolina, central North Carolina, where we are for its whole life, then you can crawl under the frame, even if it's got 300,000 miles and it's 20 years old. Frame still looks brand new. But if you're in the Northeast, if you're in Canada, if you're anywhere that has mountains or near a coast or something, you're just not going to see cars like that.
Another question: do you take Visa and MasterCard?
Yeah, we take credit cards. I mean, we don't recommend people buy a car on a credit card because you're going to pay what's a credit card interest rate, like 25% at least. Yeah, we would never recommend that you put it on your credit card. We used to, I mean, there's fees that are associated that we have to pay with credit cards. So we even don't want to swipe a credit card. We don't charge our customer anything for it, but I think it costs us like 3% is it 3% to swipe a credit card?
Sorry, what?
What's our credit card fee whenever someone buys?
There's no credit card fee. We got rid of that a year ago.
All right, we used to have a credit card fee. Now we don't have one. I'm
It
not talking
used
about
to
the
be.
customer. I'm talking about what we pay.
Oh, what we pay. It varies. It depends on what card they're using. It's there's literally a list 15 pages long of the different rates depending on what card they use. And I don't think it's all inclusive.
Yeah. So one, we don't want a customer to use a credit card because they're going to end up paying tons of interest. But two, it costs us more money. We make less money on a car when a customer swipes a credit card. We would much prefer cashier's check or debit card. That doesn't cost us anything. But yeah, I don't understand, and it happens all the time. Like I would guess probably 20% of our customers come in and swipe a credit card to buy a car. That's lunacy to me. I don't get it.